We go coffee shops all the time, just try to get out of the house, and I've been just randomly stopping at different coffee shops around the Twin Cities, and I met someone. I think I've seen him protest Black Lives Matter, and I always see him, with the good guys, with the good side. And I approached him and asked him if we can have a conversations, because a lot of people don't want to talk about politics, but he was really thrilled to talk to me, and we met at Mojo Coffee Gallery in Northeast, a beautiful place, a non-threatening, welcoming place. Here it is. This conversation happened on Thursday, last day of February. So enjoy it, and do not forget to subscribe and share either on our YouTube channel or our podcast on Spotify or any podcast platform that you have. We'll see you then next week.
You are the one who not showing on CNN or
no,
you're not going to be there.
No, they're not going to ask me any questions.
Yeah. And if I do, they're not going to even have
yeah.
So that's why we are here.
Yes.
Wonderful. Just tell me your name, a little bit about your background.
Yeah, Rick Jacobowski, and I come from Ohio. Large family, German Catholics, and my parents were very religious, and I went to California to school and was introduced to other cultures. In California, it's much broader culture, and so I was able to, I was born in '44, so I'm going to be 80 pretty soon, and so in my youth, I was confronted with the Vietnam War. It's either me go or me not go. And yes, and I was reading about the war when I realized that these people, these Vietnamese, were not going to come and attack me. They had bicycles, and they had no tractors, just animals to plant their rice, and they had sampans. Okay, so why should I go kill some poor farmer? I'd rather help a poor farmer. And so I decided I'm going to avoid the draft. And so I did. I was able to beat the draft and go in the Peace Corps. I got a deferment in the Peace Corps, and I went to Brazil. And so I lived with peasants, campesinos, in northeast Brazil, deep in the backwoods, no TV, no electricity, no paved roads, and a feudal society, landlords and campesinos. And there was a guy there before me who started a co-op of campesinos, and I worked in that co-op.
That was a gutsy decision. I know
yes.
A few did that.
My older brother went to Vietnam, my younger brother went to Vietnam. 3 of us, 4 of us avoided the war, so it came right at my family.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What is the culture of the family, what you grew up with?
Well,
what kind of,
my dad sold furniture, and my grandpa was a plumber, and my other grandpa was an undertaker. And so we were in small business, a small business family, living in a first-ring suburb of Columbus, Ohio. All my grandparents were born in German Village in Columbus, Ohio. They were Germans through and through. But my name is not German, it's more Lebanese or maybe Palestinian. We don't know. We could have been Jewish. We don't know.
you should head to this century DNA.
Yes.
Whatever that shit is.
Yeah.
So I need to know. I'm sure I'm a 99.99% human.
Yeah,
I know that.
that's right. I'm human is the main thing, with about 2% Neanderthal.
Tell me a little story about activism
Well,
in America, which is not a big
yes,
part of American.
no.
America
Well,
isolated and
right.
they do their own things.
I was not an activist, okay? I was fleeing, I was avoiding the war. And by going into South America in the Peace Corps, I was introduced to activism. My roommate was from Harvard, okay? He read so fast, I never read a book. I never finished a book in high school or college. I was proud of it.
Well, you get bored, you know.
Yeah, but in the Peace Corps, I had a chance to read. I had a lot of time, and I started reading. And I began to learn the language. I became fluent in Portuguese. And so we had a co-op, and I was working with the campesinos, living with them.
Campesinos are the farmers.
Campesinos are the farmers. Yeah, the sharecroppers.
Yeah.
And I began to see they had a different culture. Very different. Every little thing, from the way they served coffee and drank it, they didn't have a big cup, they had a little cup and chug it. Little things. And then when I left, I spent almost a year traveling around South America. I did 2 circles around, going from one town to the next. So I got into Bolivia, Paraguay, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia. And so I began to see other cultures in South America.
You do this on your own or
On my own.
group?
On my own. Yeah. And so when I came back here, when I went back to Ohio, I couldn't stand the backwardness, so I got out. It was so bad. It was like living in the South. It was so bad. And so I had a chance to work here, so I came here.
Yes, sir.
Because it's more cosmopolitan. You know, Ohio was very parochial and provincial. So I came here, and luckily, you know, I like it here. This is, to me, the center of the resistance in this country comes out of Minneapolis. It's maybe a little bit bigger in Washington, D.C., and maybe New York, and maybe San Francisco, but nowhere in between is as strong as it is here. That's why I like this place.
Well, let's talk about what's going on now.
Okay.
And we'll start with the obvious.
Okay.
The war in Gaza.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen the United States supporting an aggression like what's happening now in Gaza. I mean, they support other aggression or whatever the case may be, but to be an accomplice of committing a genocide, what most people say it's amount to genocide.
Oh, definitely.
And the American being part of that, providing the political coverage and military and weapons. And
I say the U.S. is directing it. They're not just a part of it, they are it. When they stop giving bombs to Netanyahu, it's over. All they got to do is stop giving bombs and giving aid. The U.S. is the director of it, okay? They're not just playing a small role, they're directing it. And most people don't realize that.
Why?
Why?
A lot of people will talk about the Jewish state.
Yes.
And small state surrounding by people who hate it. I mean, this is the narrative. This is the Zionist narrative that American media, American politicians adopted. It's a small state, democratic, Jewish but democratic. But as somebody say,
well, they say democratic, but it's not really democratic. It's democratic if you're Jewish. Okay, but not democratic if you're Palestinian.
It's Jewish when you are. It's Jewish when you are Palestinian.
Yes,
So why that we're almost on the verge of World War III?
Yes.
You know, ships and
it could be.
it's amazing.
It could be the beginning.
Why the American taking that much risk of supporting a pariah state by the International Court of Justice, by a lot of people in Africa and elsewhere, and not seeing the Palestinians as a victim, or not hearing the Palestinian narrative story?
Well, my understanding from studying it is that the powers in the U.S., okay, coming out of Wall Street, coming out of the military-industrial complex, okay, which directs the Democrats and Republicans what to do, they fear the states of around Palestine to be maybe go socialist, okay? And they have the huge fear of losing their influence and power in that region. And that's why they support the oppression of the Palestinians.
So it's not the promised Jewish land and that religious narrative.
No.
It's really it's a cover-up.
Yes, it's much bigger than that. It's bigger than that. This country has a huge fear of Central America and South America going to the left. And their CIA is involved in influencing elections, especially in Central America and South America. This is where we really gained our real wealth, way before there was an Israel, okay? It came through the agriculture, minerals, okay, cheap labor, a place to dump excess production, okay? This was going on for many, many years. Many years.
Before.
Yes.
So it is, some say the West support Israel because from the beginning, Israel was a colonial project. In the East.
Yes. It was Zionism is a colonial project. It comes from Europe. Mm-hmm. Understandably, because Jews could not own land, they were oppressed in Europe. It's understandable, but yet it's reactionary. And it starts with ethnic cleansing, the worst ethnic cleansing that you can see today. And it, in the very beginning, in 1920, when they would buy land, they would force people, Jews,
in Palestine.
Yeah, in Palestine, to drive off the Palestinians. Before that, people say, oh, they've always been fighting. No, they haven't. The Palestinians, whether Jewish or not, got along very well together for thousands of years. I mean, this country, we can only go back 200 or 300 years, but they're thousands of years. And so that narrative is wrong. I always tell people, no. This is a reactionary project. It starts with ethnic cleansing. And the people in Gaza were driven out of these little towns in 1948. And they were driven into this place, which is really a concentration camp. I don't know how large it is, how many miles. You know, it's got, 1.5 million, 2 million people?
In Gaza.
In Gaza. Okay? And so this is where you'll see the effects of Zionism. Now, within the Jewish community, it's split. Some of them have gone and been welded, I say welded to Zionism, others resist it, okay? And the resistance among Jews is growing. I give $5 a month to Jewish Voices for Peace. And these are Jewish people who see through Zionism. And it's growing.
Well, the majority of the Jews are living outside of Israel.
Yes, right. And the thing that people need to realize, if you live here in Bloomington, well, you could go to Israel, they'll give you $10,000, bulldoze somebody's house or kick out somebody, a family that's lived in a house for 500 years, and you could live there and have all the democracy that you can have. And this is why this whole thing is, you know, if you look a little bit, be a little bit skeptical, you can see through the con. It's a con. We've been, you know, and the tough part for people is it's easier to con someone than to convince them that they've been conned. Okay?
What's that? The establishment of Israel was based on, as you said, ethnic cleansing and exterminate the natives.
Right.
Do you think there is? That's why a lot of Americans can relate to this experience of the Israelis?
Well, I think most Americans have no idea what's going on. They have no idea. And they're busy trying to live their lives and keep up with the cost of living. Shopping malls and buying a new car, and they're clueless. And so they get a narrative from the corporate media whose interest is not the same as theirs. Okay, it's not in my interest to exploit anybody, right? It's not in my interest. It's in my interest not to have them exploited. We're spending trillions of dollars, okay? Trillions of dollars that should go to education, to schools, okay? Healthcare. There's many things we need. We got thousands of people tens of thousands who are homeless, who can't keep up with the economy. And so it's not in our interest as working people to support this. This is money right down the toilet.
Well, they guarantee you cheap oil. The Israelis are making sure the oil is flowing in. Well, how about a couple of days ago, you've seen Joe Biden, eating ice cream and talking about stopping the slaughter. It reminds me when I was watching Western movies.
Yes.
With Clint Eastwood always killing the natives and his cigar.
They smoke a cigar. Yeah.
This is just.
It's surreal. It's a surreal. I mean, it is. Yeah.
People are starving. And dying.
Yeah. Right. It's.
And he's licking his ice cream.
Licking his ice cream, and this is what we live in, and it's been here since the very beginning. This is not new. The killing of George Floyd was not this is how we have been, and now with this phone, you see, this is changing everything because the kids, the Gen X's, the Gen Z's, the new generations don't buy it. 70% are supporting Palestine of Gen Z, and they're the activists today. When they have demonstrations, they'll get tens of thousands. They have occupied and got city councils all over I think over 100 and some city councils have been supporting a resolution to ceasefire, okay? And that resistance is growing. So this country has a long history of resistance. To think this is the way the American people, I mean, we may be asleep a little bit, but not all of us. And it's our job. This is our job, is to wake people up. And at my age, I haven't been to any demonstrations. But when they went downtown, I called my city council member and told him, and he knows me. I make sure he knows who I am. I tell him I support this. Okay, you don't have to be the leader. You can just pick up the phone or write a letter or teach your children. You know, some of the best resistance I've seen from Palestinian families comes from the first generation born here. You know some of them. They will really get out, okay? And so each one of us has a job to do, a little bit every week, do some little thing, okay? Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, talk to anybody. I will talk to anybody. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody about this because I feel confident on being a human being and supporting humanity that, you know, I mean, I'll listen to all points of view, but I know where I stand.
You know, the way we met at a coffee shop. You know, kind of, I've never met you in person before,
Yeah.
and when I asked you to do this, you were kind of very.
Oh yeah.
I was leery because nobody wants to talk about politics.
Oh no, I can give you one person after the other who will sit down and talk to you. I know the leaders, okay, and they have built an organization that's larger than, we have some of the most wonderful organizations, Veterans for Peace, Women Against, yes, Women Against Military Madness, the AntiWar Committee, okay, there's other ones too, and they have a bigger umbrella organization that that they meet and they organize the protests, okay? Biden could not come here to Minneapolis, Minnesota without a demonstration. He will not be received well here, okay? So these groups, it's the Free Palestine Coalition that these groups have formed, okay? And it's very broad. If you have a group, you could send a representative, and they're planning something every day, it seems. I mean, I'm fortunate to live here because I look on my phone and it's like, what do I do today? I can go here, I can go there.
Within the Apple Watch will tell you.
Yeah, my Apple Watch will tell me. Oh. So that's you know, this is our best defense, is solidarity with the oppressed people in Palestine.
Well, around the world.
And around the world, exactly. Okay, and the U.S. is not so powerful. They got kicked out by the Taliban. The freaking Taliban kicked.
They were a slipper and a rope, and they have guns from World War I.
Yeah, exactly. World War I guns. They beat them out.
You see the guy trying to shoot at $100 million.
Airplane. Exactly.
And he believes he can.
Yeah,
shoot
exactly.
How can you find that kind of beliefs? And why we don't learn our lessons?
Why don't we learn our lesson?
We failed in Vietnam, we failed in Afghanistan.
Well, you know,
somebody's benefiting from this.
You know, I have with 8 brothers. I have every point of view, and some are very well educated, okay? And some are not, doesn't matter. And I talked to one of my brothers about the condition of the human brain, the capacity of the human brain to grasp its situation. I mean, we're so easily conned into stuff. I mean, I'm become a great believer in skepticism. No matter what anybody says, I check it out, I check it out, I check it out. And as a white male, okay, growing up in this country, I didn't realize how biased I was until I went to South America, where everybody's brown, mostly. And here, I'm afraid of them. Well, they're not afraid of me.
The minority there.
Yeah, and I had to realize that, hey, something's wrong with me. You know, and if we don't check, as a white person, if I don't check on that every once in a while, because it seeps back into me, the racism seeps in. About 20 years ago, I saw this black guy walking down the street, and I thought, oh, a black guy. And I thought, oh, I didn't used to be that way after I left South America. I better do something about it. So I got on a black radio, and I heard about a demonstration about police brutality, so I went, and I got involved. And that's back when we had to hand out leaflets and get 500 people, okay? And that really began to see what's, the culture that I'm in. It's a racist culture, okay? And it really, all white males especially need to confront that, I say.
Your own privilege.
I have to, yes. I can't say that person's a bigot. No, I got to see how I'm a bigot. I have to, clean that out of myself.
A lot of people pay the price for doing the things that you do.
Yes.
School.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And any ramification?
Any what?
Any ramification? Any?
Well, each person needs to decide where and when and what they do. And I like these groups because if they're going to have a civil disobedience, they're going to tell you. You don't want to be in a group that isn't real truthful and open to you, okay? Because there are people who want to get us in trouble. So you stay away from those people, okay? There's FBI infiltration. If an FBI comes to my door, I'm not going to talk to them about anything, nothing. And so each one of us has to look at what we can do, when we can do it. And I like to go back to these organizations. There's American Muslims for Palestine. There's Women Against Military Madness. There's the Anti-War Committee. Okay, these are the groups I trust. And it helps if I do one little thing that strengthens all of us.
That's human.
Yes. I used to paint signs. I've had signs that went all over the world. Today I don't paint signs. Younger people have come along, they paint signs. But,
the least you can do.
Yeah.
How this is going to affect local election?
Why? It's complicated. I have no idea. How can I vote for this Democrat? The Republican is just as bad. There's hardly any difference between the two.
Those are a product of a democratic process.
Well, it's a bourgeois democratic process. Working people really don't have a party. In Canada, they have a third party, okay? we don't have a viable third party. And it's a dire situation. I can't tell you. I'm asking my friends, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
You'll be like the people in Michigan.
Yes.
Showing uncommitted.
Yes, right. I was going to go to my caucus, but then I talked to a friend and actually a reporter at the Star Tribune, okay, of all places, he doesn't like either party. And he's right. They're both rotten to the core. But I think locally, there's hope. My city council member is top notch. Elliot Payne, he is top. I think he should be the next mayor. Okay? And he's a guy that I would support because he listens. He's not a politician that's going to never shut up. He'll listen. And then he acts based on what the base is saying and what he believes is morally right. And he's taken stands that no one else, very few people will take. And it's amazing that he got as far as being the president. So.
Well, it's a party. Each party has their own ayatollahs.
Yeah, they do. That's a good one. I have to write that down.
It's okay.
No.
Well, Richard, this has really been pleasure talk to somebody. I mean,
Good.
having been out there talking to people,
Yeah.
because people are a little bit weary when they look at you, and
Yeah.
it seems like everybody think politics only to politicians.
Yeah, no.
And we're not citizens, we
Yeah.
are just consumers.
Right. Well, what I tell people is it's really important for each one of us to do a little bit of something every day, every week, every month. You know, there's sometimes maybe I just read a little bit, study a little bit, find out some detail. Maybe that's all I do.
So it seems like we are living post-humanism.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of hope. When George Floyd got murdered, okay, I counted over 35 or 36 cities that had demonstrations. I went to the demonstration with 20,000 people. Okay? It was spontaneous. It wasn't organized by any group, it was spontaneous.
It's like Intifada.
Yes, exactly. But there was even one little 6-year-old boy or girl, I can't remember, on a tricycle with the sign. Okay? I counted that as, and that was some little teeny town. Some little teeny town. Okay? So the American people will move. Okay? And you can see it in the organization of trade unions. Okay? Strikes, like there's a strike now with the stewardesses, very progressive, nurses, very progressive, auto work. I used to be in the auto workers union. Okay, they're winning now in places they never won before. So there's a movement coming up.
Even Biden was picketing, was one of them.
Yeah, he has to go out and picket, which
Didn't get it from the establishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is always hope, and hope doesn't come at once.
Yeah, that's right.
I think.
And each one of us needs to find our little spot.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a friend or two that spends all their free time on this movement.
Yeah.
Most of us
Yeah.
are not. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So you do what you can. Teach your children. Very important to teach your children. Okay, and confront those in your family who have really backward concepts.
Well, and that's beautiful, because you didn't confront others until until you confronted
You
yourself.
have to confront yourself first.
First.
Yes. Yeah. Always. I always, for my grandkids, I give them a positive reinforcement. And I don't criticize them, I criticize myself. And by criticizing myself, then they, well, maybe I should look at myself too. Okay? So,
And you have your family. Talk a little bit about your family. You have children.
no, I have one adopted son. I have 3 grandkids. Okay? And they have a tendency to slip to the right. And so to the, you know, they're not looking closely. So I have to be, I reinforce the good things they're doing, and then I'll tell them what I'm doing, how I need to confront this problem, why I don't support this or that, and not tell them what to do. They'll get there.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. And they have a big challenge with climate change. You know, what we've learned is the biggest threat to climate change is war. War is where we burn more carbon than any other way, more than all the cars driving around the highways. Yes, yes. And in this group here, we're pointing that out. Veterans for Peace is one of their main thrusts. Is nuclear disarmament and war, to stop the wars that are burning up the climate. And this is what I tell my grandkids what I'm doing.
Yeah, you look at Gaza now, it looks like war between the force of evil and the force of justice.
Oh,
And they talk about
it's
civilized and democracy. And
there's 30,000 people have been killed. 10,000 of those are children. They're killing everybody, even their Jewish brethren. They'll kill them in their what do they call that? Collective punishment. If you're in the wrong place, you're out. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that the U.S., who claims to be the good guys, can be, it's exposing the United States more than ever, and the Zionists more than ever. It's not Judaism. Judaism has really nothing to do with Zionism and genocide. It does not.
yeah, Zionism took over the Jewish
Part of it, yes.
But you talked about before that you study the Holocaust.
Yeah. Yes. Let me say something about that. The U.S. could have forced Volkswagen and Siemens and the other big industrialists who supported the war to put these people to work, okay, and rebuild their lives. They didn't do that. They didn't do that.
The First War?
Yes, they didn't do that to the people who were in the concentration camps. Okay, they didn't do that. And so these poor people, those who tried to migrate back to their homes were often murdered with a note in their pockets. This is what's going to happen to you if you come back. Yes,
Like what happened in Gaza?
No, this is in
I
Europe.
don't know, but like what's
Yeah,
happening
same
now.
thing, same thing. It's the same fascism, okay? And so,
The idea was
well, the idea was the U.S. accepted some refugees. My family actually had a person, when I was a toddler, in our basement. My dad put a toilet and a shower down there, and a DP, displaced person from the Holocaust, lived in my basement. I hardly remember her. And all of a sudden, one day she was gone. Some people came, picked her up, found a better situation. On my paper route as a paper boy, I had 2 people that were in the concentration camps.
Number.
Yeah, numbered on their arms. And so the U.S. took some people, but Europe was not taking them back. You know, the Nazism in people's brains in Germany was still very strong. It didn't change like it should have. And so the Zionists were looking for some place to go, and they were actually looking at Ethiopia, I think, once, and a couple other. Argentina.
Even in California, in the desert was
really
looking into
any place.
Best place.
Sure. Understandably.
Yeah.
Understandably, you know?
Yeah.
But what's happening, Lula, the president of Brazil, has called them the new Nazis. And that's what they've become. To me, they're like the parents who beat their kids up, and when they grow up, they beat their kids up. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, the children of the Holocaust are committing one.
They're committing the new Holocaust.
But to end this up,
Okay.
Zygmunt in his book, the things I remember, he said most of atrocity committed through history was committed with people who followed the law, who followed the orders.
Yes, yes.
And we need people who refuse.
Yes,
like what we did.
yes. You have to refuse at some point.
Exactly.
There is a limit to what each person will do, hopefully, right?
Some Israeli soldiers did.
Yes, they're doing that now
you
too.
You did in your age.
Yes,
You
and
refused to go to Vietnam.
yes, yep. And my brothers who went to Vietnam, they call me
From there.
Yes, they call me the peacemaker in the family because I support peace. I don't.
How did that Vietnamese experience affect his life after?
Well, he wears the hat, the Vietnam hat. He has the Vietnam license plate because we adore the military.
Oh.
We do in this country. But don't let that fool you. I met a guy, and I got him talking, who had the hat. He really was a war resistor. He got in the National Guard and all.
To avoid.
Yes. He was, you know, they wanted him to re-up and go to Vietnam, but he didn't. Okay? So in the end, we were like this. And so, well, I don't know where I'm going with that, but
Yeah, I understand.
you know,
It's,
yeah.
It affects you even in the ways you don't even recognize, you don't
Yeah.
even understand.
Right.
Well, I know this is took longer than you thought here. But,
No, I'm fine.
Sir, thank you so much for
Well, thank you,
spending
Ahmed.
this afternoon with me.
It's been a pleasure.
Beautiful pleasure.
Yeah.
Richard Jacobs here. We are sitting at Mojo Coffee. You like Mojo Coffee?
I do.
It has a vibe in it.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It's a wonderful place, wonderful
place.
environment.
And